Welcome to the first episode of our blog series, wherein we will tackle about the influence of communication skills to the success and failure of the students. In this video, we will ask questions to our very special guest. So let's start with an interview with Mr. Reymark Cleopas. Mr. Reymark Cleopas is a 24-year-old teacher in Nagakam Sur and a 3 years experienced teacher in physical science. So let's begin.
Okay, so for me, communication skills is one of the tools or basic tools that we as a teacher is being used in the online or face-to-face interaction between teachers and students. And mostly, communication is one of the important part of day-to-day teaching, especially as educator, for us to deliver the subject matter of our lesson. Yan. Okay. So as I've mentioned from my response from the first question, so for me success is that when the learning objectives of my lesson is meet by my learners. Ibig sabihin po niya na-acquire nila yung learning objectives na nandoon sa discussion ko. And when in terms of failure for me, failure is just part of my teaching process wherein my students got a low score in any part of my assessment. So yun po yung perspective ko in terms of success and failure. Okay, so it's very simple to determine when does the communication become effective. So when your receiver understand you or understand the message na gusto mo po sa kanilang sabihin. So for me, that's the part where communication is become effective kasi there is an understanding between the sender and the receiver of the message, and it does contribute to the success or the failure of the students because there is a response that the students get from you. Just like is a situation when we say it contributes to the success of the learners, ibig sabihin nun they are full of comprehension of your topic. And pag sinabi naman natin failure, minsan there are times, especially in teaching, i-share ko ng experience ko, they are tend to repeat the questions because maybe there are several factors, so madami kasing factors when we say communication skill. Pwedeng yung yung isa sa mga factor niyan, yung environment, kapag masyadong maingay yung environment. So there are times that the communication skill may be a failure for the others. Okay, so these your questions sometimes it applies for me because there are times. Okay, so I will give you a short background regarding of my credentials. So I am not fluent, especially in English. But as a teacher, it is important for us to learn at least how to speak and comprehend basic English since, as I say, we are an educator. So one of the present-day obstacles that prevents my communicating or my communication skill for being not effective is that there are times that may mga terms, especially mga terminologies or mga words na what do you call this, na first time ko siyang na-encounter. So since sabi ko nga hindi ako English major kasi yung degree ko ay physical science. Ano po? So that's why I am not fully aware of those vocabularies words, those correct grammars because one of the skills na dapat mo i-acquire in terms of communication yung grammar mo, especially yung tinutukoy natin dito ay communication skill. Ano po? And when we say grammar, it is not referring only to the words that you are giving to your receiver. It also implies your pronunciation, ano po, your enunciation and your diction. So isa po yun sa mga obstacle kung bakit minsan, ano po, so there are times that my communication skills become ineffective. But as a teacher or as an educator, so it is our responsibility or obligation to create a rapport. Ano po? So pagdadaanan nyo yan pag naging ganap na kayong future educator. Mga future educator pala kayo. So magiging witty kayo, mag-isip ng paraan, magpalusot. Ano po? Okay, so what is the advantages that help me communicate effectively? Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Okay. So one of the advantages that helps to communicate effectively is that what do you call this? So palagi ko itong sinasabi, ano po, kung bakit kahit hindi ako fluent in terms of language, speaking foreign language, so masasabi kong effective pa rin po ako kasi based on my experiences na po. So there are many learners and my former students gained knowledge and they also understand what I'm trying to teach them. Ano po, what I'm trying to say to them. So doon masasabi kong effective effective rin yung communication skill ko. Ano po, although not 100%. Kasi sabi niyan, when we say communication, so the receiver, ano po, of your response, naiintindihan ka. So yun lang po yung point ko in terms of communication, interaction between the sender and the receiver po. For me, when the learners, ano po, so let us put classroom scenarios, ano po, between teacher and student, since we are I am an educator and also you are future educator. So we must ibaba natin, ano po, yung situation kung para mas madali nyo maintindihan. Okay? So nagiging advantage siya whether it in terms of success or failures para sa mga estudyante when they are 100% or sabihin natin 99% na acquire nila, ano po, yung learning objectives or yung subject matter mo ng learning discussion mo. So saan po papasok doon yung success, ano po? So papasok yung success doon kapag, ano po, kapag naintindihan nila yung discussions mo. Kasi there are times, sabihin natin, lalo na po kayo, syempre, if you already understand the subject matter of the lesson of your teacher, so when minsan may mga teacher na sabi, is there any question? So syempre magre-response kayo ng answer or none, ma'am. So ibig sabihin, you already understand. Ano po? So, and it is a success of the communication between student and teacher kasi naintindihan nyo yung discussion niya. And papasok naman dun yung failure kapag mababa yung mga nakuha nyo sa assessment ng teacher nyo. Kasi po, one of the tools, ano po, na ginagamit ng teacher is communication. If the communication skill of the teacher is not good enough to deliver his subject matter, so there are times that there are failure, ano po, sometimes in his or her discussion. So yun lang naman po yung point doon.
Thank you, Sir Reymark, for your wise words. Without further ado, let's proceed to our next guest for this video. She is a 19-year-old first-year student in Batangas State University, taking Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. She lives in Palo Alto, Calamba, Laguna. Let's all welcome Miss Jea M. Adlao. Let's all hear her response to our following questions.
With a student, communication skill refers to the ability to transmit information to another person in an efficient way. It is also being a communicative competence. I can say that the communication skills are effective when the person you are talking with understands you and responds accordingly to what you say. For an example, teacher and students. Teacher have a discussion to the class and all of the students pay attention to him or her. And afterwards, teacher have a quiz and all of the students get a perfect score. It means that the communication skills are effective because all of the students get a perfect score and lead to success to the students by getting a perfect score to their class. For me, as a student, success is when you're satisfied with your achievement and when you can feel genuine happiness after all that roller coaster experiences. While failure is when you haven't met the standard you created since day one. The strategies that I employ when confronted with bad communication are to think before I respond to the person I'm talking with to avoid misunderstanding. Second, to make space for the right moment. Many conflicts can be prevented if you anticipate potential areas of disagreement and make a plan ahead of time with the other person. Third, I respect the point of view to the person I'm talking with. And last, acknowledge your share in causing the problem. The present-day obstacle that prevents me from communicating effectively is cultural differences and language. While the present-day advantages help me to communicate effectively are problem-solving, increased productivity, and engagement, and handle conflict.
Thank you, Miss Jea Adlao. Our next guest is a 20-year-old student from Calamba as well. Let's all welcome Miss Mary Joy B. Jane. Thank you to all our guests who accepted our invitation to join us in this video. You answered our questions with full of knowledge and excellence, and your presence are very well appreciated. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this episode, and see you in the next episode of our vlog series.